Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at Frieza and first form Frieza and getting a good feel for just how good he is basically in Dokkan Battle at 100% in the hidden potential system. So this is INT first form Frieza, immediate containment. He's a super bosses category lead of 77% or an INT type of 50. Greatly raises attack and defense for one turn on his super, and in terms of passive has Ki +2, attack and defense of 100%, and additional attack and defense of 25% with each attack performed. Super bosses category allies Ki +2 and defense of 30%, and he launches an additional super attack that has a high chance of coming as super attack when HP is 50% or more, and if facing 2 or more enemies, he will launch a guaranteed super attack. Gets an additional attack and defense of 50% and foresees enemy super attack when there's a Pure Saiyans or movie heroes category enemy. In terms of his links, he's got Prodigies, Frieza's Army, Universe's most malevolent, strongest clan in space, Thirst for Conquest, Fear and Faith, and Sharing the Limit. He's Ungifted Warriors and Human Deeds, Planetary Destruction, Space Traveling Warriors, Super Bosses, Terrifying Conquerors, and Wicked Bloodlines. In terms of build, honestly, listen, I think if you really want to benefit from him in hard content, you have to go full evasion. If you really want to try and use him in things like Red Zone and Blue Zone, he does have usability there because of his forcing super attacks. But if you really want to run him there, you're going to need to go just full evasion. Give him up to 30% if possible, and then just YOLO pray. His defense gets to like a decent level. I think fully built up, it gets to like 255k. There or thereabouts, and so obviously then when he supers he will have over 300k, but it's nowhere near enough to really deal with normals at the final stage of some of these stages. But not bad, not a bad unit actually. I think not a bad unit at all. 30% defense, 2 key, forcing super attacks. I mean, these are all very good abilities. And I think is good overall. Like, I definitely think he's usable to a high level. Like, things like Fighting Legend Goku GT, Fighting Legend Vegeta, even earlier Red Zones. The strength of the Super Bosses team is quite high, and if you're looking for a character to just kind of fill in that support role slot, I think he's pretty good. Like I say, you can build him full evasion for the harder content. You can really kind of let him just go ham. Let him do his thing. I think from there, though, I think things are a bit, I think he can be a bit inconsistent then. I think, like, obviously he's got a lot of benefits, but it's against Pure Saiyans. And I think, movie heroes, Pure Saiyans definitely means Blue Zone or Magnificent Spectacle or whatever it is. Magnificent Spectacular Fight or whichever one it is. Listen, I think it's obviously great to run there and run him in that content if you can, but the thing is I do wish that they had given him just a little bit of baseline evasion, even 30%, 30% from that and then 30% from your hidden potential system. That would have given him effective, give or take 52.75% evasion. It's not bad. Like, it would have been fine. The forcing super attacks is really nice, and I gotta be honest, it's something that's gonna really help a lot of newer players, whether they're doing Dokkan events or doing Fighting Legend Goku, like I said, even earlier Red Zones or some of the challenge stages, things like that. The fact that they didn't give him an attack buff is also a little bit weird. Like, I know obviously he's giving 30% defense, but I think they could have afforded to make it 2 key and 30% attack and defense. I just don't really see the necessity to not provide the attack buff. But I think overall not a bad free-to-play unit. But I think always the secondary free-to-play unit is kind of overshadowed by the LR free-to-play unit in the anniversaries. Link-wise, a ton of pretty standard links. Universe's most malevolent, strongest clan in space, Thirst for Conquest, Fear and Faith, all decent extreme-based links. So I don't think he has a real problem linking up on his team with units you want him to link up. The thing is on Super Bosses, there's actually not a ton of Friezas that make the end of the team right now. That probably will and can change. But at this point, I think he's just a nice, very cool utility option that you might find yourself use, especially as a new player, or alternatively, you know, as someone who's maybe potentially looking at, running some lower to mid tier range content. Overall, a cool unit. 5 million attack stats, 250k defense, forcing super attacks. Pretty solid.